10 years after Paris, who is actually keeping their climate promises? In December 2015, 196 countries made a historic promise to cut emissions, slow warming, and save the planet. That was 10 years ago. The question now isn't what was promised, it's actually who is delivering. A new CEEW study has the answer, and it's uncomfortable for some of the world's wealthiest countries. CEEW tracked 4 major climate negotiating groups using countries' own data submitted to the UN. Here's what we found. 3 powerful groups, the umbrella, which includes US, Canada, Australia among others, the European Union, and the Environment Integrity Group, are collectively projected to emit 9% more than their 2030 targets. And it gets worse. By 2035, the gap grows to 19% above their target levels. Of all the countries in these groups, only 3, Kazakhstan, Georgia, and Ukraine, are on track to meet both their 2030 and 35 commitments. Meanwhile, Iceland and South Korea are actually projected to increase emissions despite having pledged to cut them. To meet their 2030 targets, wealthy countries need a dramatic change of pace. EU would need to reduce emissions by 4.8% every single year, nearly 4 times faster than it's been moving. The UK would need to more than double its current annual reduction rate to 5.4% per year, whereas the US and Canada would each need to increase their annual reduction rates by 5 to 6% compared to the previous years. These are not small course corrections. Now here's the part of the story that often goes untold. The basic countries carry far less historical responsibility for climate change. They still have hundreds of millions of people to lift out of energy poverty. And yet, they are showing stronger alignment with their 2030 commitments. India has already met its target of generating 50% of its electricity from non-fossil fuel sources ahead of schedule. It has achieved 37% reduction in the emission intensity of its economy and created an additional 2.4 billion tons of carbon sink. Collectively, basic countries emitted 8.5 gigaton CO2 equivalent less between 2016 and 2022 than they would have if pre-Paris trends had continued. That's equivalent to over 10% of global emissions. The Paris Agreement was built on trust. Countries promised and others believed them. A decade later, the first full transparency cycle under the agreement gives us hard data and hard truths. The countries falling behind must accelerate action before 2030, not shift the burden to future generations. And wealthy countries must also provide finance and technology to help developing countries grow cleanly. 10 years after Paris, the mirror doesn't lie. Some countries are stepping up, others need to move much faster. You can find the link of the full study in the description. This is CEEW Explains. Like, follow and subscribe for all the things climate and energy.